Welcome to this week's edition of MIAA 360. Broadcasting live inside of the MIAA Network studio, I'm Ben Ferris. Coming up a little later in the show, we introduce you to the MIAA's new Director of Strategic Communications, Riley Edgar. And then we'll preview all the Spring Championships. But first, back in March during the MIAA's Basketball Championship Tournament, the MIAA, in partnership with the Kansas City Sports Commission, put on an event for the Kansas City youth that participated in the Reading and Fitness Challenge put on by the Kansas City Sports Commission. Here's a look at that event.
I think that this event really impacts the community positively because kids are able to come downtown for the first or second time. You know, they're able to see this game. Many of them have never even been to a basketball game, so they're able to see that. But overall, it just impacts the community so positively because the student athletes walk away with getting to impact the lives of young adults, and also the kids get to see their role models in person. So as a whole, it really impacts the community very positively. I'm Maddie Osias. I work for the Kansas City Sports Commission as an Associate Events Manager. So what we just did was the Reading and Fitness Challenge, which is basically getting kids from around the Kansas City area to be involved in sports and to also read. Once they complete a certain amount of hours working out and read a certain amount of books, they get free admission to the MIAA quarterfinal game. The student athletes are able to come in and engage with the kids, and they really just serve as such great role models. When you have young kids coming in, having these student athletes interact with them, it shows them that they can get to this level and that there are opportunities for them when they work out or when they read, and they really dedicate themselves. So the student athletes are awesome examples for these kids.
I think it's just really important that we get into the community and just get to, hang out with the children and everything. Hopefully they look up to us, but I know for the team and stuff, it's just really good to just hang out with kids, to just spend time with them and see them laugh and smile and just have fun with us because they're just full of joy. So it's really important for us.
The kids are able to come to a basketball game. Most of these kids have never even been downtown. They get to interact with the student athletes and see them face to face instead of just, seeing them on the court. They're able to see them in person, and they're also just, they feel like they're meeting celebrities. So that's really awesome for these kids.
Community service is important to me, especially with these kids, is because whenever I was a kid, I had college students come up to me, and it was really nice to see they're not just big scary athletes. They definitely are people, and they like to laugh, and they like to do things like I like to do. They like to color, draw. And overall, the athletics, I think it's just amazing. Not only do you gain support from your community or you gain support from little kids, you can change someone's life by just being nice or showing them how to draw a picture or just giving them the time of day. So it means a lot to me, and I hope it means a lot to athletics all over.
Thank you to the MIAA for partnering with us on this event. We're so excited to be able to bring these kids in and get to show them a men's basketball game. They were so excited making posters and just being able to hang out with the student athletes. So we're really thankful to the MIAA for partnering with us.
We'll be right back after the short break.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you.
Welcome back. Now we're going to introduce you to the MIAA's new Director of Strategic Communications, Riley Edgar.
We're joined here today with our new MIAA Director of Strategic Communications, Riley Edgar. Riley, welcome to the MIAA.
Thanks, Larry. We're really excited to be here and excited to get rolling.
You're certainly not unfamiliar with the MIAA. You've worked at 2 MIAA institutions over the past 3 years. Don't you think that's going to give you a little advantage in your new role?
Yeah, absolutely. Just knowing the landscape of the league, knowing some of the SIDs, some of the staff in the league, I think that's going to be a huge advantage moving forward and just kind of hit the ground running right away.
Well, your last 2 years, you've been a graduate assistant in media relations and also a graduate student at Missouri Western. Tell us a little bit about your experiences there as a student and also your role with the athletics department.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was the media relations graduate assistant. I worked with the director of media relations, Nick McCutcheon. I served as the primary contact for tennis, baseball, volleyball, and then secondary for men's and women's basketball. Also as the primary contact for golf. So I got a wide variety of sports to work with. Got to cover our volleyball team on their way to the 2017 co-championship during the regular season. And I was through their run to the NCAA tournament. Got to work with our baseball team on their run last year to the regional. So just a lot of different experiences I've had with the sports, and then sat in on our administrative staff meetings every week. Got to work extremely close with two ADs that we had. My first year was Kurt McGuffin, and then now Josh Looney. Really a round experience. Just wasn't media relations, a little bit of everything. And also that time has allowed me to serve on the MIAA basketball committee, help stat some games there, do some freelance stat work around Kansas City. And then, as you talked about, going to school, I had to go to class at night. So it was a really interesting balance of trying to work 40 plus hours in athletics and then try to go to school at night. I think that experience made me a lot better time manager for sure, because you're trying to go to school, get your homework done, pass your classes, and then still put in 40 hours and try to excel and carry the athletic department to new heights. So it was a great experience. I loved every second of it, but I'm ready to hit the conference office and get going.
Well, prior to that, you also spent a year at Nebraska Kearney and external relations as a student assistant there. Talk about that.
Yeah, so right out of college, I knew I wanted to work in athletics, just wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I found a job as the intern for external relations at Nebraska Kearney, as you said. Knew some people in the athletic department. One thing led to another, and that's I started working, and that was by far probably the greatest 10 months of my life. Just you're working athletics, you get a feel for it, you get to learn everything hands-on, and just the athletic department in general. You're working for Dr. Paul Plinsky, and at that time, Hilke Brandon was the director of external relations who I worked for. It was just an awesome experience. I mean, just so positive, and anything that you wanted to try, they were there for you. They helped you grow, helped you learn, and then really that helped me build a lot of relationships with coaches and players. I still talk to a lot of the coaches on a daily basis. One of the players, Connor Baronic, I knew, growing up through high school, and you get to work with him and you just have that relationship, and that really intrigued me to continue working in college athletics and especially the administrative side. And I'm extremely blessed for my opportunity at Kearney, and I owe a lot to where I am for my time at Kearney, and I loved every minute of it.
Well, certainly you have a unique perspective with working with coaches, student athletes, because you're a former student athlete yourself. You played football, I believe, at Nebraska Wesleyan. Talk about the experiences balancing between being an actual student and a student athlete at the same time.
Yeah, so I played football there at Nebraska Wesleyan, Division III school in Lincoln. We always joke that we're the real school in Lincoln. That other school that's red, we don't really know about them. But yeah, Nebraska Wesleyan was an amazing experience. Again, I talked about, like how a lot of the connections I had at Kearney. A lot of my friends, great friends that I played football with at Nebraska Wesleyan, and just kind of going through that Division III model. No one had scholarships, so you're there for the love of the game. And then, the academics, too. Nebraska Wesleyan is top 10 for football academic All-Americans. So there was a lot of high standards of academics and football as well. But just balancing that was, very interesting, because you come in here out of high school, you were kind of the guy in your high school team, and now you're trying to learn the new offense, you're trying to learn everything, your head's kind of swimming with football, and then you're learning how to go to college. It was a great learning experience, but something that I took a lot of pride in. That was a great time for me to grow and kind of find my niche, what I wanted to do, and still balance the football and student athlete part. I think the thing I'm most proud about is I was a two-time conference scholar athlete. That's something that I'm proud of, because Nebraska Wesleyan has such a rich tradition of football academic All-Americans and success with academics that I could be a part of that. That was awesome, and just being able to play more and at the college level, it was something that was really fun, and again, that's kind of where I think I kind of figured out, okay, I knew I want to work in college athletics after my time at Nebraska Wesleyan.
So you've had some experience on 2 different campuses. Now you're going to step into a role at the conference level. What are some things that attracted you to that position?
I think the biggest thing that really attracted me to the conference office was just being able to help all the schools. The really unique perspective about being in the sports information, media relations realm is just how tight of a group it is. I mean, just the conference rivalries. At Missouri Western, our biggest rival was Northwest Missouri State, and Marshall Fay, was always a huge help for Nick and I at Missouri Western. And then you meet Gene Castle and Jason at Washburn and Don at Emporia State. And, you have Justin Vasquez at Missouri Southern. All these people that you see are just so willing to help you, and they want you to be successful in your role. And that was just a huge draw to continue to be a part of that tight-knit group and help them, kind of return the favor to help them and really help the conference. And I know the conference motto is bring your A game, and that's so true about anything. I think the one thing I figured out working in this league, it's been 3 years, but you have to bring your A game every single night because you don't know what's going to happen. And if you don't bring that A game, you're going to probably get knocked off. I mean, we've seen at Missouri Western, we were a 12th seed and we made the conference semifinals in women's basketball. We got beat by the 9 seed who knocked off the eventual, national champion in Division II in the first round. So you got to bring your A game, and being able to be a part of that and really promote the good things of the conference and the student athletes and their successes on and off the court was really, really successful. And just being able to stay in the conference was also another huge draw for me.
Well, you're certainly no stranger to Kansas City. You've spent some time. I think your brother was living here as in part of med school. So are you looking forward to moving to Kansas City, become part of our community?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. My brother and sister-in-law went to med school here at KCUMB for 5 years. They actually just lived down the road and then moved out to Johnson County. So I think when I told my mom and dad that, hey, I'm looking at a job in Kansas City, and then I told them I took a job in Kansas City, I think they were really excited. My dad and I have our list of top 5 favorite barbecue places, so we're going to be excited to continue that. My brother and sister-in-law are really excited to come back. They have a lot of friends still in the area, so gives them more of a reason to come back down here. And then my little sister, I call her my little sister, but my sister-in-law's sister lives here in Kansas City, so having those close ties to Kansas City makes it that much more intriguing to be down here, that much more exciting for me. And just being in a great city like Kansas City and the sports that go on here, it's really exciting to be back in Kansas City, I guess, for my family.
Okay, Riley, you're going to start full-time here in just a few weeks. What are some of the things, your top priority goals, objectives as you begin this position with the MIAA?
Yeah, I think one of my first goals is just to kind of reach out to all the conference SIDs, media relations personnel, and just be an assistance to them, because this time of year is always tough. The spring sports with the you don't know what the weather's gonna be, so schedules are changing. We're transferring into the spring sports championship season, so being able to help them as much as possible, if it's statting games or helping them get coverage on games, and just kind of being there. And then we go from the conference season into the regional play. There's a really good chance that an MIAA school is going to host a regional. Just kind of being, hey, how can I help you guys out? What do you need from me? I think the biggest goal for me in this role is just being a resource for all the conference members. Because as I said, they're such a tight-knit group that if I can continue to help and serve the member institutions, I think that's going to really benefit everybody. I think kind of the long-term goal is just kind of helping brand the MIAA. I think, not arrogantly, but I think we all in the conference know this is the best conference in Division II. Just kind of spreading that around the nation. I think another great thing about our conference is I think we could compete with a lot of small to mid-major Division I's, and if we can promote that and spread that and share what we're doing on the court and off the court with our student athletes and our athletic departments, then I think people are really going to start taking notice of that nationally and just not regionally. And that's something I want to do and something I want to help grow the brand of the MIAA across the nation.
Well, and certainly here in Kansas City, we have over 80,000 MIAA alums just in this metropolitan market. So I know a goal of yours is going to be try to continue to increase our connection and relationship with those folks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just reaching out with that. I think we have one of the best conference basketball tournaments down in Kansas City, and just you always say the March Madness of it, and the MIAA Madness is what we talked about this year. If we can get those alumni to come back, for that, and get those those fans back in the seats, and they can see up close, what the conference tournament's all about, and then hopefully that can drive them back to campus. So that they can see it in Kansas City and say, hey, this is a great product. These student athletes are fun to watch. The games are fun to watch. I'm going to go back to campus and start watching. And then we can start, driving those people back to campus and building up our stadiums and attendance numbers, and then start growing what we have on campuses. I think that it would be a goal of mine, definitely, and just getting those alumni engaged here in Kansas City and seeing how it translates to campus.
Well, certainly you're going to play a big role in the MIAA network, so we'll see you frequently on MIAA 360 in the future. Welcome to the MIAA.
All right, thanks, Larry. I appreciate it.
We'll be right back after the short break.
We've got our heads in the game,
our minds in the classroom,
our hands in the community,
and our feet ready for the world.
We're a part of the NCAA Division II experience.
Using our skills
at our universities and in our communities. I chose the MIAA.
I chose the MIAA.
MIAA, the spirit of our communities.
Welcome back to MIAA 360. Now we're going to preview the MIAA Spring Championships. In 2 weeks, men's and women's tennis championships will be held at Sid and Hazel Dillon Tennis Center in Lincoln, Nebraska on April 16th through the 18th. On the women's side, teams that clinched a spot to the MIAA Championship are Northeastern State, Southwest Baptist, Central Oklahoma, Nebraska Kearney, Northwest Missouri, Washburn, Emporia State, and Lindenwood. Northeastern State will be looking to go back-to-back and clinch a spot in the NCAA tournament. On the men's side, teams that clinched a spot in the tournament are Northwest Missouri, Southwest Baptist, Washburn, and Emporia State. Northwest Missouri will be looking to continue their reign of dominance over the MIAA and be crowned once again as champions. After tennis, the next spring championship is men's and women's golf. The men's championship will be held at Sycamore Ridge Golf Course in Spring Hill, Kansas on April 23rd through the 25th. Central Oklahoma will be looking to three-peat and bring home a trophy. The women's championship will be held at Swoop Memorial Golf Course in Kansas City, Missouri on the same days as the men's, April 23rd through the 25th. Like Central Oklahoma, Northeastern is looking to repeat as champions. At the end of April, MIAA Championships will head down to Oklahoma City for the softball championship held at USA Hall of Fame Stadium. This stadium is the mecca for softball and gives MIAA teams an opportunity to experience one of the best stadiums in softball today. Central Oklahoma will be looking to capture another MIAA softball championship, but will have tough competition from the two teams ahead of them in the conference standings right now, Washburn and Central Missouri. Kicking off May will be the MIAA Outdoor Track and Field Championship held at Kearney High School Track in Kearney, Nebraska on May 4th through the 6th. On the men's side, Pittsburgh State will be looking to build off of the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championship and bring home an MIAA Outdoor Track and Field trophy. On the women's side, Pittsburgh State will be looking to continue their dominance at the MIAA Outdoor Championship with another win. Finally, May 10th through the 13th, MIAA Baseball Championship will be held at James R. Crane Stadium in Warrensburg, Missouri. Central Oklahoma, who is at the top of the conference standings right now, will be looking to continue that success into the tournament. But Northwest Missouri and MIAA tournament host Central Missouri are hot on the Broncos' heels. Well, that's our show for this week. From all of us here at the MIAA Network studio, thanks for watching. I'm Ben Ferris, and until next week, bring your A game.